Hey guys, this is my friend Ramsey, and his purpose is for you to pay attention to him because if you're paying attention to him, then you're paying attention to me, and he's more fun to look at than I am. So pay attention to Ramsey, please. Make sure you are listening to this ed puzzle as well. You have earbuds in, headphones, you have the volume up. Make sure you're listening as you watch. So we are going to start our figurative language unit today, and I have this silly little picture on the front, and it's actually pretty accurate as to what figurative language means. So make sure you're taking notes as you watch this video. I'm going to change my size to smaller. There we go. Okay, so what is figurative language? Figurative language is using words or expressions with a meaning that is different from the literal interpretation. So figuratively, if I can speak, means you have to figure out what it means. It's in the name, figuratively. Literally means words function exactly as defined. So example, figurative, I've got your back. A literal meaning would be, I will support you. And here's an example of figurative language here. It's raining cats and dogs. So why use figurative language? Writers use figurative language because they are able to express a clearer picture with their words and it's more creative. So instead of just being literal about everything, they can be creative and express their ideas in just a better way. So figurative language varies the writer's sentence structure, so the syntax. It makes the text more engaging. It also impacts the mood. Remember, that's the reader's feeling of the text and the writer's tone, so how the writer sounds. So we're going to get into some examples of figurative language. These are the comparison figurative languages. So comparisons add details about characters, actions, and setting through a similarity to other objects, and hopefully you're familiar with a simile and a metaphor. So a simile compares two things using like or as. So an example would be, you are sweet as a rose, or a Taylor Swift example would be, I'm shining like fireworks over your sad empty town. A metaphor is a direct comparison of two things without using like or as. So an example of that would be, you are a rose. Or Taylor Swift example, darling, I'm a nightmare dressed like a daydream. An allusion is an implied or indirect reference to a person, event, or thing, or to a part of another text. So, I'm just looking at this last picture on this slide because it took me a second to figure out what was going on here. I made these slides last year, so that's funny. I'll get to that. So first, Taylor Swift alludes to Romeo and Juliet, the play by William Shakespeare, in her song Love Story, that you were Romeo, you were throwing pebbles, and my daddy said, stay away from Juliet. And we will get more into Romeo and Juliet later, which is exciting. Elton John's song Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, which if you haven't listened to that, you need to, alludes to Wizard of Oz, obviously. You know, they go down the yellow brick road. And then this last picture here, if I said that crumble cookies is my Achilles heel, I'm alluding to the mythology story of Achilles dying. He is like unstoppable, if you know the story. Like, he can't die. There's only like one weak spot on his body, and it's his heel. And so like he gets shot in the heel and he dies. So crumble cookies is my Achilles heel. Descriptive tools. Descriptive tools helps readers to see characters, actions, and settings in their mind. So it kind of paints a picture in your mind whenever you read. So an idiom is a word or phrase that means something other than what is being said. Like if I said it's raining cats and dogs, that's an idiom. It's not actually raining cats and dogs. Or it was only once in a blue moon that the flowers did not bloom. That doesn't make sense. Like, what does that even mean? It's only once in a blue moon. That means it means like every now and then. But I'm just thinking, like, if you don't speak English as your first language, if you speak Spanish and you heard that, you would be so confused. So that's what an idiom is. Hyperbole is an exaggeration used to make a point. You're probably familiar with this one. They were the most vibrant flowers in the world. That's pretty It's an exaggeration there, like, "I'm so hungry, I could eat a million crumble cookies." I could not. I would love to, but I could not. Personification is giving human qualities to non-human objects, so the roses wept for their wilted friend. The I was gonna try to make a solar eclipse personification, but I can't. So we're just gonna skip that. Sound devices. Readers can hear the patterns, descriptions, and details. So alliteration is two or more nearby words that begin with the same sound. It doesn't have to be the same letter, it just has to be the same sound. So Sarah smelled the sweet, salty snacks. That's the sound, that's the alliteration. Or, and baby, now we've got bad blood, that sound is the alliteration. Pretty sure we went over this earlier this year, so hopefully you remember this. I don't think about it in the sense they have to rhyme. Alliteration has nothing to do with rhyming, and I had a lot of people get confused about that last year. But alliteration is not rhyming, it's that first initial sound of a word. Onomatopoeia is a word that makes sounds when spelled out. So, like buzz, click, boom, zoom. I hit you like bang. Next is a pun. It is a humorous use of words with multiple meanings or words that sound similar but have different meanings. Like, let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about it, but let's talk about it. And it's a taco that's talking. Or like the hat saying, you hang around, I'll go on ahead. Get it? Or a chocolate milkshake or a butterfly. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Okay, euphemisms. Euphemisms are figurative language that lessens the harshness and politeness or unpleasantness of an uncomfortable topic. So instead of saying this man got fired, you could say this man was let go. Or if grandma passed away instead of grandma died. Gatsby lives comfortably instead of Gatsby is rich. Or she has a bun in the oven instead of she's pregnant. So I just think it's like a nicer way of saying something. And then I think this is the last one, oxymoron versus paradox. So you got to stay with me here because this one is probably, or these two are probably the toughest out of all of these, but we can do it. Okay. So an oxymoron is a figure of speech that combines contradictory words with opposing meanings. So if you say something is old news, that's contradicting itself because news would be new, right? I mean, like news is recent. If you say something is old news, it's very contradictory. Or deafening silence. So deafening means like super loud, right? So loud it's making you deaf. But silence is silence. It's not loud at all. Organized chaos. Chaos is chaotic. Organized is not. And sweet revenge. Like revenge is supposed to be like a bad thing, but if it's sweet, then it's sweet. And then a paradox. So paradox and oxymoron are very similar. Think of oxymoron as like two words that are contradicting each other. A paradox would be like an idea that's contradictory. So this could be like a sentence, two sentences, could just be like a concept, an idea. Oxymoron is just two words. So a paradox is a literary device that appears to contradict itself but contains some truth, theme, or humor. And a paradox is harder to give examples for because sometimes it exists, or most of the time it exists in like the context of the text. So you'll see some of that later on when we do more examples. But I think my favorite example of a paradox would be from Fight Club. This is a book. There's also a movie. If you've never seen the movie, it's pretty interesting. But this famous line is from Fight Club, and it's the first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. And that's a paradox. It's contradicting itself because is the guy who says this line breaking the rules of Fight Club by talking about the rules of Fight Club? Like he's telling you about the rules of Fight Club, but that's talking about Fight Club. But the rule is not to talk about Fight Club. So see how it's like It's this like loop, it's this paradox there. So that's like an idea that's contradictory versus an oxymoron would be like two words that are contradicting. Could be more than two words, but it's not like an idea. Oh, here's another example. Good. I forgot I added this. So an oxymoron, again, is a juxtaposition of two words that have contradictory meanings. Most of the time, it's just going to be the two words. So like jumbo shrimp. Shrimp is like small, right? But jumbo is not so. And then paradoxes detail contrasting ideas and phrases or whole sentences. So like, here's another good one. My weakness is my strength. So, all right. Make sure that you took all the notes you needed to take on this. Make sure you watch this video all the way through so that you receive credit. And say goodbye to Ramsey now. Bye.